I learned early that my life was not mine. Victor Hale made sure of that. Stand straight, he used to say. Speak less. Listen more. I listened. I always listened at AT school meetings. He shook hands and smiled. He's doing well, he'd say. Top of his class. Later in the car he'd add, that's expected. I pay enough for it. My mother, Elaine, would sit beside him, fingers tight in her lap. She never argued. Never defended me. Thank him, she whispered once when I was TN.So I did. Thank you, sir. Victor nodded. Good. That was my childhood. Orders, silence, approval earned like wages. When I chose science he corrected me. Business is safer. When I wanted music he laughed. Hobbies are for weak men. When I made friends he asked, what use are they? I learned the right answers. I understand. You're right. I'll do better. At dinner he controlled the room. Chew slower, he said. Sit properly. Don't interrupt. Evan copied him. Dad's right, my brother said, proud that I wanted to scream. Instead I nodded. Now I'm 32. People call me successful. They don't see the cage. A colleague once joked, you always ask permission even when you don't need it. I laughed. Inside I froze. At work my phone buzzes. Victor's name flashes. My stomach tightens. Yes? I answer. Christmas is coming, he says. You'll be home. I'm busy, I say even though my hands are shaking. You always are, he replies calmly. I didn't ask. The line goes dead. Evan texts right after. My younger brother never doubts him. Dad says you're coming? Cool. That. The word burns. That I stare at the Christmas decorations outside my office window. Lights. Smiles. Fake joy. Elaine calls later. Her voice is soft. He misses you. Does he? I ask. She pauses. It's Christmas. That's always her answer. I remember being 16, standing in the hallway. You'll study abroad, Victor said. I don't want to leave Mom, I replied. He leaned closer. You want a future. I left. I always left. Tonight, alone in my apartment, I loosen my tie and breathe. You okay? Elaine asks on speaker. I'm tired, I say. He worked hard for you, she adds quietly. So did I reply. Silence fills the call. Freedom feels close, then slips away. My phone rings again. Pack warm clothes, Victor says. I expect you Friday. I'm not a child, I snap. Silence. Then, everything you have came from me. Anger floods my chest. Fear follows. You can't control me forever, I say. He laughs once. We'll see. My voice drops. Why are you like this? Because the world respects power, he answers. And I gave you some. I wanted love, I whisper. You wanted comfort, he corrects. Love is earned. I close my eyes. I'll be there, I say. Good, he answers, satisfied. The call ends. I sit in the dark, jaw tight, hands shaking, knowing one truth as Christmas approaches: that he never raised me. He owned me. I pour a glass of water and stare at my reflection. You look strong, Victor once told me. What about happy? I asked. He frowned. Happiness is useless. That sentence lives in me. I remember a school award night. Say thank you properly, he hissed before I went on stage. I'm grateful, I said into the mic. He clapped the loudest. Afterward Elaine smiled weakly. He's proud of you. He's satisfied, I replied. Evan ran up. Dad says you'll run the company someday. I forced a smile. Maybe. Now my phone lies silent, waiting to own me again. I whisper to the empty room. This can't be my whole life. The room doesn't answer. Outside, carolers laugh. Inside, my chest feels tight. Christmas is coming, and instead of joy, I feel the chain pulling me home. I grab my coat and mutter, just one more visit. But I know it's never just one. As I lock the door, my phone vibrates again. A message from Victor reads, don't be late. My hand trembles. Fear mixes with anger. This Christmas will not be peaceful. It will be a test, and I know I am running out of time. I first met Lena at a cafe downtown. She was laughing at something on her phone, and I realized I hadn't heard laughter that genuine in years. Do you always stare like that? She asked, tilting her head. I guess I do, I admitted, fumbling with my coffee cup. You look like you need a laugh, she said, grinning. I do, I confessed. I think I forgot how. She laughed again, and for the first time in years I felt my chest expand. Breathing felt easier. We started meeting regularly. I can't believe you've never been to a jazz night, she said one Friday. I've never had the time, I lied, thinking of Victor's lectures, my mother's quiet nods, Evan's shadow following him. You need to live, Lena said. not just exist. Her words stuck with me. She didn't know my life, the chains around me, the invisible hands that pulled at every choice I made. She didn't need to. Somehow she helped me heal anyway. Late night calls became our ritual. Did you eat? She asked one night. Yes, I said, though I hadn't. You sound tired. I am. Then sleep, she said softly. Don't make me worry. I'll try. Those calls became my lifeline. I told her small things, lies that felt like truths. I like how calm you are, I said once. You like what's real, she corrected. Her honesty hit harder than any lecture from Victor. I wanted her in my life, fully, without fear, without guilt. But Victor never approved. Who's she? Victor asked one evening when I hesitated to mention her. She's someone I care about, I said carefully. Victor's laugh was quiet but sharp. Care? Care doesn't pay bills, secure futures, or advance a family name. She isn't useful. She isn't strategic. I don't care about that, I said, voice tight. You will, he said. People like her only bring trouble. Remember that. I did. Every day. His shadow stretched over my happiness, tainting every thought about Lena. I debated endlessly whether to bring her home for Christmas. What if he doesn't approve? I asked her one night, my voice barely above a whisper. He can't control you, she said, but I heard the doubt in her tone. I don't know if I can make him not control me, I admitted. Then fight, she said. Or don't go. But don't let him win without trying. I promised her I would. No one will ever control us, I told her, gripping the phone like a lifeline. She laughed softly. Bold words. I mean it, I said. I promise. Her voice softened. I believe you. But promise me you'll be careful. I will, I lied because I wasn't sure I could. Victor's voice echoed in my mind even as I spoke to her. I remembered his calm, commanding tone. You'll do as I say. That line haunted every choice. I wish he didn't exist, I muttered, staring at the ceiling. You can't change him, she said gently. You can only change yourself. Her words warmed me, but fear lingered. Every Christmas brought the same anxiety. Every family gathering reminded me that I wasn't free. I want to be with you, I admitted, voice breaking slightly. You are, she said. Even if it doesn't feel like it. Her confidence in us gave me courage, even if fleeting. I closed my eyes. I'll get us through this Christmas, I said, more to myself than to her. She didn't need to respond. I held onto the line, the sound of her breathing steadying me. I repeated my promise silently, like a prayer. No one will control us. But deep down, I knew the fight had just begun. The car pulled into the driveway and I felt that old familiar tension tighten my chest. The house was dressed in Christmas lights, but the warmth ended at the front door. Inside, Victor's eyes found me immediately. Back earlier than expected, he said, voice calm but sharp. I had a few things to finish, I replied, forcing a smile. He nodded once. Good. Sit. Elaine greeted me quietly. You look well. Thanks, Mom, I muttered, avoiding Victor's gaze. Dinner was set perfectly. Evan chattered about school projects, completely oblivious to the tension. Victor's eyes never left me. So, he began, cutting into the roast. I hear you've been spending a lot of time with that girl Lena, was it? My fork stopped midair. How do you know? I hear things, he said casually, slicing meat. Word travels fast. She's important to me, I said, voice tight. Victor leaned back, studying me. Important doesn't always mean suitable. I don't care about suitable, I said through clenched teeth. Suitability is survival, he replied smoothly. You forget life doesn't wait for feelings. I swallowed hard and nodded, forcing myself to chew. Lena's name burned my mouth. He looked across the table. You know Rachel, he paused, letting the name sink in, would be a better match for you. Smart, connected. Doesn't interfere with family or business. Evan perked up. She sounds cool. I gritted my teeth. I am not interested, I said, trying to sound casual. Victor's smile was slow and deliberate. Interest is temporary. Strategy lasts. Elaine shifted uncomfortably. I could see her hands clenching under the table. Rachel appeared briefly at the door, polite but rehearsed. Merry Christmas, she said, and I felt Victor's eyes gleam. Merry Christmas, I muttered. Later, the house grew quiet. I wandered into the study for some air. Victor followed without a word, standing behind me as I looked out the window. You think you can separate yourself from reality? He asked softly, almost friendly. I just want to live my life, I said, turning to face him. Your life? His tone sharpened. Your life exists because of me. Every opportunity, every success, mine. I didn't ask for control, I said, voice rising. Control is protection, he replied. You think you can choose freely, but freedom without guidance is ruin. I don't need ruin, I snapped. I need to choose. Victor stepped closer. Calm, precise. You owe me your life. I froze. The words cut through me like a blade. Not money. Not advice. Life. You can't, I began, but he held up a hand. Listen, he said, tone almost fatherly. I've planned everything. Lena does not belong in that plan. You either follow or you risk losing everything I've given you. My throat tightened. She's not part of your plan, but she is mine. He sighed, exhaling slowly. That's the mistake you always make, thinking your desires outweigh reality. I don't care about your reality, I said, shaking with anger I had held in for decades. Victor smiled faintly, unshaken. Someday you will. But not tonight. Tonight you remember who you are. And who owns you. I clenched my fists, breathing hard. My mind raced through every Christmas past, every word he ever used to tether me. You won't take her, I muttered, more to myself than to him that he tilted his head. We'll see. I turned away, trying to steady myself. The lights on the tree flickered, cheerful and mocking at the same time. You owe me your life, he repeated quietly, leaving the room without another word. That I stayed by the window long after he left. Lena's voice echoed in my mind from our calls. Nothing will control us, she had said. That I clenched my jaw, gripping the sill. For the first time, I understood the real weight of those words. Tonight, I realized Victor wasn't just trying to guide me, he was ready to take the one thing I loved most, and I didn't know if I could stop him. I knew something was wrong the moment Lena called me instead of texting. We need to talk, she said. Her voice was tight, careful, like she was walking on glass. Did something happen? I asked. She hesitated. Did you tell your stepfather about me? My chest locked. No. Why? Because he already knows, she said quietly. That I stood up so fast my chair scraped the floor. What do you mean he knows? He came to see me, she said. Yesterday. The room tilted. Victor came to you? Yes, she replied. He said he was worried about you. That's a lie, I said instantly. I know, she snapped, then softened. At least I think I do. But he sounded so calm. So sure. What did he say? My hands were shaking. She inhaled sharply. He told me you'd lose everything if you stayed with me. Your job. Your future. Your family. That's not his choice, I said. He said it already was, she whispered. My throat burned. Did he threaten you? Yes, she said. And he offered money too. A lot of it. Silence swallowed us. I didn't take it, she said quickly. But that's not the point. What else did he say? I asked. He asked me what I wanted from you, she said. I told him I loved you. And? I asked, afraid to breathe. He smiled, she said bitterly. Then he told me love doesn't survive pressure. That I'd break first. My fists clenched. I'm so sorry. That's not enough, she said, voice cracking. Why does another man control your life? I opened my mouth. Nothing came out. Why does he get to decide if we're together? She asked. I didn't let him, I said weakly. But he did it anyway, she replied. And you didn't stop him. I didn't know, I said. But you knew he could, she shot back. That hurt more than anger. Say something, she begged. Tell me this ends. I am trying, I said. That's not an answer, she said. That I searched for words, excuses, anything. All I found was fear. Do you love me? She asked. Yes, I said instantly. Then choose me, she said. Not later. Now. My silence was the loudest sound between us. She laughed softly, broken. That's what I was afraid of. No, I said. It's not that simple. It never is for you, she replied. I'm fighting him, I insisted. When? She asked. After he ruins us? I had nothing. I can't breathe like this, she said. I need space. Lena, please, I said. Don't go. I'm not leaving you, she said. I'm stepping away from his shadow. The call ended. That night I sat alone in the living room. Christmas lights blinked on the walls, bright and cruel. Every reflection showed me smaller, younger, trapped. The door opened behind me. Victor poured 2 glasses of wine. You look tired. You talked to her, I said. Yes, he replied. I was polite. You threatened her, I snapped. I warned her, he corrected. There's a difference. She's scared, I said. So are you, he replied calmly. You had no right, I said. That he handed me a glass. Everything I do is for your good. I stared at the wine, then at him. You don't understand love, I said that. He smiled faintly. Love is a luxury. Control is survival. I felt 12 again. Small. Owned. Drink, he said that. I didn't. This is for your own good. Victor said that. I took the glass, and something inside me cracked. My phone stayed silent for hours. Then days. Lena's calls, texts, nothing. Why isn't she answering? I muttered, pacing the apartment. Elaine's voice came softly from the kitchen. Maybe she needs time. She needs more than time, I snapped. She needs me. You can't control her, she said quietly. I don't want to control her. I want her. I yelled, my hands shaking. Elaine flinched. I stayed silent all these years because I was afraid, she admitted. Afraid? I asked, stopping in my tracks. Yes, she said. Afraid of him, afraid of what would happen if I spoke. I wanted peace, so I gave up my voice. I gave up everything. I felt a chill. My chest tightened. I've inherited that, I whispered. I've been silent too long. Afraid too long. The apartment felt smaller suddenly. I couldn't breathe. Every memory of Lena laughing, every call, every word I wanted to say, all slipping away. The phone rang. It wasn't Lena. It was Victor. Have you thought about Rachel? He asked calmly. She's the right match for you. And the merger is moving forward. I'm not interested, I said tightly. Interest is irrelevant. Opportunity is everything, he said. You should learn to prioritize it. I hung up, heart pounding. I felt trapped. Like a puppet. I needed someone to hear the truth. I called Daniel. Long time no see, he said, voice cheerful at first. Daniel, I started, voice breaking. You sound like hell, he interrupted. What's going on? I exhaled shakily. I am losing her. I can't reach her. Victor, he's controlling everything. Victor? Daniel asked sharply. The same Victor Hale from college parties? The same, I said. Every choice I make, he's there. Every step. Even Lena, he's trying to take her from me. Daniel was quiet. Then, you're living like a prisoner, man. Have you noticed that? I thought I was strong, I said, voice cracking. I thought I could handle it. Handle it, he scoffed. You're giving everything you love to a man who doesn't care about you. You're scared, not strong. I can't just walk away, I said. He's everywhere. Then fight, Daniel said sharply. Or you lose more than Lena. You lose yourself. His words hit harder than I expected. I sank onto the couch. I feel broken. You are, he said bluntly. But admitting it is the first step. Stop pretending you're okay. Stop pretending you're free. You're not. I looked at my hands, trembling. All those nights, pretending, planning, obeying. Every sacrifice, every silence, it wasn't bravery. It was fear. What do I do? I whispered. Start by taking control, Daniel said. Even small things. Say no. Pick a fight. Don't wait for permission. Do something that scares him. I swallowed. The apartment felt colder. I thought of Lena, of her smile, of her trust. Every day I delayed, I risked losing her forever. I need to change, I said aloud, my voice hoarse. If I don't, I'll lose everything. Lena, Daniel, even me. Good, Daniel said. Then start today. Stop living in his shadow. I hung up, heart racing. I couldn't reach Lena yet, but I knew I had to act. Somehow that I sat in the dark, staring at the blinking Christmas lights. They mocked me. Bright, cheerful, while I was hollow inside. I whispered to myself, voice trembling. I can't let him win. Not her. Not me. Not everything I care about. My reflection in the window looked small, fragile. I hated that version of me, that if I didn't fight I'd lose everything. And this time I wouldn't let fear decide for me. I parked a block away and waited. Every minute felt like an hour. My hands shook as I checked my phone. Lena hadn't replied to my last text, but I had to see her. Why now? I muttered to myself. The cafe door opened and there she was. Tired eyes, tense shoulders, but still my Lena. Hey, I said softly. She looked at me cautiously. Hey. I need to explain, I began. She folded her arms. You've been saying that for weeks. No, listen. I never told you everything, I said. About Victor, about me. Everything he's done, all the control he's had over my life. Her eyes searched mine. Go on. I swallowed hard. I grew up trapped. Every choice I made he influenced. My career, my friendships, even how I'm supposed to feel about love. She leaned back, expression unreadable. That's a lot. It is, I said, voice tight. And I let him decide for me too long. I thought I could handle it. But when he came to you, offering money, threats I realized how powerless I really am. I couldn't protect you. Her lips pressed together. I'm exhausted, she whispered. You love me, but love isn't enough if you don't fight for yourself. Her words hit me like a punch. I know, I admitted. That's why I'm here. I'm done obeying him blindly. I don't want to lose you or me anymore. She studied me carefully. And what now? I don't know yet. But I'm going to start making my own choices. Starting tonight, I said. She nodded slowly. Then show me. After that, I called Daniel. His familiar voice answered immediately. You sound serious, he said. I am, I said. I need your help. I can't stay under Victor's thumb anymore. Finally, he said sharply. I've been waiting for this. What's your plan? I don't want revenge, I said. Not yet. I want independence. I need to get out from his control at work and at home. I can't keep living like this. Good, Daniel said. We start with small moves. Transfers, shifting responsibilities, documentation. No one notices until you're gone. I need your guidance, I said, relief washing over me. I can't risk Lena or me getting caught. You won't, he said confidently. We'll make sure he doesn't see it coming. After the call, I sat in my apartment, plotting quietly. Every decision had to be calculated. Every step could backfire. But for the first time in months, I felt alive. I thought about Lena. About the first time we met, how she laughed, how she made me feel free. I refused to let Victor take that away. I drafted emails, rearranged meetings, prepared a quiet exit from Victor's company. Every move was deliberate. Every step a small rebellion. My phone buzzed. It was Victor. I stared at his name and felt my chest tighten. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. Then I typed a single message. I won't be home for Christmas Eve. I stared at it for a moment, then pressed send. The silence that followed was deafening. No reply. No follow-up. Just empty air. I slumped into the chair, hands gripping the desk. Fear churned in my stomach, cold and sharp. He would notice. He would act. But beneath that fear, a strange exhilaration spread through me. Freedom. Tentative, fragile, but real. I whispered to myself, voice shaking. I'm finally choosing me. I looked at the calendar, the blinking lights outside my window reflecting faintly on the walls. Christmas was coming, but for the first time, it didn't feel like a cage. I breathed deep. Lena's words repeated in my mind. Love isn't enough if you don't fight for yourself. Tonight, I had taken the first step. I didn't know how far I'd go or if I'd succeed. But I was no longer just a pawn. I was moving, finally, and the mix of fear and freedom was intoxicating. I watched from my office window as Victor's calm facade began to crack. He stormed into the boardroom, slamming papers on the table. I don't understand, he snapped. Why isn't this merger moving forward? One of his partners, Mr. Graves, looked uneasy. Sir, perhaps maybe our projections aren't aligning with your expectations? Victor's hand clenched. Expectations? I set them. I planned this. And yet, he shook his head. Everything is slipping. Rachel, standing near the back, caught my eye. Her smile was tight, forced. She didn't hide her frustration. I can't do this, she said quietly, stepping away. You're obsessed, Victor. It's unhealthy. He turned, glaring at her. You're making this about emotions? Business is about strategy. I don't want to be part of this obsession, she said. Goodbye. The door clicked shut. I exhaled quietly. One more person breaking free. One less chain around me. I leaned back in my chair, letting karma do its work. No need to speak, no need to argue. The cracks were widening on their own. Then Mr. Collins appeared at my door. You requested a meeting? Yes, I said, voice low. I need help. Quietly. No one else can know yet. He nodded. Understood. We'll start separating your accounts, contracts, and responsibilities. Step by step. Victor won't notice until it's too late. Exactly, I said. I can't risk him retaliating. Not yet. I've prepared the legal frameworks, Mr. Collins continued. Everything will be above board. You'll gain independence without confrontation. I exhaled, tension easing slightly. Thank you. I just need control over my own life. Meanwhile, Victor grew desperate. I overheard him talking to Mom one evening. You must convince him, Elaine, he said, voice low but urgent. He doesn't see what's best for him. I can't, Victor, Mom said quietly. I won't interfere. You owe me loyalty, he snapped. He's making mistakes. Mistakes I cannot allow. I can't live your life for him, she said firmly. Later, Victor cornered Evan in the study. You have to understand, son. Your brother is choosing badly. You need to help him. I don't want to take sides, Evan said, hesitant. You will, Victor barked. Or you're complicit. I watched from my office doorway. Guilt pricked at me. Mom, Evan, they were caught in his storm. But I couldn't falter. I had to stay firm. Victor stormed past me later, muttering under his breath. I said nothing. I let him fume, knowing my calm was stronger than his rage. You're different, he said finally, stopping mid-step. You aren't afraid like before. I've made my choices, I said evenly. And I won't let you control me anymore. He stared, eyes narrowing, uncertainty flickering briefly before his usual mask returned. But I saw it. The first time he looked at me without authority, without certainty. Don't mistake this for weakness, he said, voice tight. I am still in charge. I know, I said. But leadership isn't fear. Not anymore. Days passed and the shift became more obvious. Victor's partners whispered in corners. Decisions that used to be unquestioned were now second-guessed. Rachel's departure was just the beginning. Mr. Collins kept me informed. Every step you take, you gain ground, he said. Soon Victor won't have the leverage he once did. I nodded. I feel it already. It's strange. Freedom tastes like fear and hope at the same time. Exactly, he said. You're reclaiming your life, one piece at a time. That evening I called Lena. She answered immediately. Are you okay? I am, I said, trying to sound calm. Victor's faltering. Things are shifting. I'm finally gaining control. Good, she said, relief in her voice. I've been worried. I know, I said. But this time it's different. I won't let him touch my life, or you, again. She didn't argue. She trusted me. I hung up and looked at the Christmas lights outside my window. Their reflection glimmered across my desk. Victor's world was cracking, but I remained steady. Calm. Patient. For the first time I understood what real power felt like. Not fear, not control, but clarity and resolve. And Victor, he could see it too. I heard the argument before I even entered the living room. You can't keep doing this, Victor. Mom's voice trembled but held steel. Victor's eyes narrowed. Doing what? Protecting him? Guiding him? Guiding him? Mom shouted. You've spent decades controlling, manipulating, breaking him. And now you act like it's for his good. Evan stepped forward. Mom, maybe she's right. Maybe I didn't see it before. Victor laughed, sharp and brittle. You've always been naive, Evan. Blind loyalty is a weakness. No. Evan shouted. I've been blind because you made me blind. And I see it now. I stood in the doorway, heart hammering. I never expected this. Mom, Evan, finally facing him. Victor turned to me, voice low, dangerous. Do you think you can talk to them? You can't. Nothing escapes my control. I can, I said, stepping forward. And I will. Mom's hands shook, but she held herself upright. I should have said something years ago. I was afraid. But I see it now. You've never raised him. You've controlled him. And that stops today. Victor's jaw tightened. Elaine, you dare? I dare? She interrupted. Because I love my son. And I won't watch him suffer anymore. I felt a weight lift from my chest. Hearing her say it aloud made my anger and fear coalesce into clarity. You don't understand power, Victor said, voice low, almost pleading. No, I said firmly. I understand it now. You never raised me. You controlled me. And I'm done letting you do that. He took a step toward me, hands trembling. I gave you everything. Everything. And I hate that it was conditional. I yelled. Everything I have, I earned too, but you made me believe it was because of you. Not me. Lena appeared quietly at the doorway, watching. Her eyes searched mine. I could see doubt, hope, and fear all tangled there. Victor's face twisted. You ungrateful fool. I shaped you. You shaped fear, Victor, I interrupted. Not me. Not who I am. Evan's voice cut in. He's right. You've spent years making us all live under your shadow. I see it now. I won't be part of it anymore. You're all wrong, he hissed. You can't leave me. You belong to me. Mom shook her head. No. We belong to ourselves. The house felt smaller suddenly. Victor's words, once sharp and commanding, were empty. The authority he wielded so effortlessly crumbled with each person standing up to him that I took a deep breath. I'm leaving now. And I won't come back to live under fear, under control. Victor's hands curled into fists. You think you can walk away? Yes, I said simply. Because I finally can. He staggered back, muttering threats that sounded hollow. You'll regret this, I'll make sure. You'll do nothing, I said. Because I'm not yours. And neither is Lena. Neither is Evan. Neither is Mom. His face flushed red, then paled. Rage and disbelief warred across his features. You can't survive without me, he said, voice breaking. That I laughed softly, a sound that felt like air after years underwater. I've survived this long, haven't I? I turned and walked past him, each step lighter than the last. Lena fell into step beside me silently. Her hand brushed mine. I didn't look back. Victor sank onto the armchair, slumping like the weight of his empire had finally crushed him. The house, once filled with control, fear, and order, echoed with emptiness that I could hear him muttering to himself. Threats. Please. Anger. But no one listened. Outside, the cold night air hit me, crisp and liberating. I inhaled deeply. I could feel the chains fall away from my shoulders. Lena squeezed my hand gently. Are you really free? She asked quietly. I am, I said, voice steady. I finally am. And for the first time in my life, I believed it. Victor sat alone, surrounded by the walls he once ruled, powerless. That I walked out into the night, every step carrying years of fear, control, and silence behind me, and I left him there where he belonged. The knock on the door was soft, hesitant. Come in, I said, not looking up from my coffee. Victor stepped inside. He didn't stride or glare. He paused, hands in his pockets, eyes unsettled. I wanted to speak, he said quietly. That I didn't respond immediately. I let him find the courage to continue. I was afraid, he admitted. Afraid of losing control. Afraid of losing you. I felt a twinge of old familiarity, that pit of emotion I had spent years denying. Control isn't love, Victor, I said. And it never was. You confuse them. Power for affection. Fear for loyalty. He nodded slowly. I see that now. Maybe too late. Maybe, I said. My voice was calm, steady. I wasn't afraid, I wasn't pleading. I was free. I thought I was helping you, he said, voice breaking. I thought I was shaping you into someone great. Someone I could be proud of. You made me someone you could manage, I said softly. Not someone who could live freely. I've spent decades under your rules, your expectations, your shadow. He swallowed. And now I'm myself, I said. No chains. No obligations to your fear. I choose me, not your version of me. Victor's shoulders slumped. I wish I had known how wrong I was. I forgive, I said simply, surprising even myself. But I won't return. Forgiveness isn't ownership, Victor. And love isn't control. He nodded, eyes misty. I understand. I truly do. For the first time, the tension between us wasn't a battle, it was honesty. Later that afternoon, I met Lena at the small cafe where we first met. She sat quietly, hands clasped, waiting. Hi, I said softly, sliding into the seat across from her. Hi, she replied, eyes cautious. I'm not here to beg, I said quickly. I'm here to be honest. About everything. I'm listening, she said, voice guarded. I lost years, Lena, I said. Years to fear, to silence, to him. I hurt you without knowing it. I let control dictate my life instead of love, instead of courage. She nodded slowly. I can see that, she said. But actions matter more than words. I know, I said. I'm not asking for forgiveness immediately. I'm asking for a chance to prove I've changed. That I can be my own man, and be with you freely without shadows behind me. Her lips pressed together, considering. It's hard, she said. I trusted and then you weren't free. How do I know you're different now? I can't make you believe instantly, I said. But I can show you. I can live honestly, openly, without fear. And I want you to decide if that's enough. She looked at me, eyes searching, hesitant, but a glimmer of hope flickered. I see the change, she said quietly. It doesn't erase the past, but it's a start. I reached across the table, brushing my hand lightly against hers. No demand, no expectation, just presence. Thank you, I whispered. That we sat like that for a while, talking slowly, carefully. About life, about mistakes, about hopes. Pain lingered in her words, but so did trust. So did possibility. By the time we left, night had fallen. The city streets were quiet, calm, and for the first time in weeks I felt peace. Not victory, not triumph, just a simple, steady freedom. Christmas morning arrived without decorations, without fanfare. The lights of the city filtered softly through the window. Lena was beside me, quiet, thoughtful. Happy Christmas, I said. Happy Christmas, she replied. That we didn't need ornaments or music. There was warmth in honesty, in safety, in choice. For the first time I celebrated not as someone controlled, manipulated, or forced into fear. I celebrated as myself, alongside the woman I loved, ready to rebuild slowly, deliberately, together. Victor's voice lingered in memory, a shadow now diminished. But it no longer defined me. I breathed deeply, feeling weight lift from my chest. Freedom wasn't loud. It wasn't violent. It was quiet, and in that quiet I finally felt peace. The morning air was crisp, sharp against my cheeks. No decorations glimmered inside, no grand tree lit the room. But somehow, it felt like the first real Christmas I'd ever experienced. "Morning," Mom said quietly, coming into the small kitchen with a cup of tea. "Morning," I replied, smiling gently. There was no tension now, no fear in her voice or mine. I want to try again," she said softly. "We don't have to pretend anymore. Not like before." "I'd like that," I said. "On my terms and yours." She nodded, eyes glistening. "I never knew how trapped you felt. I only knew fear, fear of him, fear of losing you." "You were trapped too," I said. "I understand now. We stayed quiet too long. But we can change that. Together." She hesitated, then smiled faintly. "It's a start." The phone rang. I answered, surprised when Evan's voice came through, casual but sincere. "Hey brother," he said. "Brother?" I asked, brow raised. "Yes," he said, a hint of embarrassment. "I mean it this time. No fear, no hesitation. Brother." A lump rose in my throat. "I'd like that," I said, voice thick. "Really?" "Good," he said. "I think we can start over." I hung up and leaned back, letting the weight of years lift just a little. Later, Lena arrived. We didn't rush, didn't speak first words of reconciliation. We simply walked. Side by side, fingers occasionally brushing, hearts cautiously open. "Do you ever think we'll look back on this and laugh?" she asked quietly. "Maybe," I said. "Eventually. But not today. Today we just exist. Honestly." She glanced at me, eyes searching. "I wasn't sure you could change. Not fully. But you've surprised me." "I've surprised myself too," I admitted. "I never thought freedom could feel like this." "Freedom?" she repeated. "Yes," I said. "Not from work, not from obligations. From fear. From someone telling me how to live. From losing the only things I truly cared about because I let control dictate my choices." She smiled faintly, squeezing my hand. "Then this is our first real Christmas." I nodded. "Not perfect, not loud, not glamorous. But honest. And that's worth more than anything Victor ever gave me, or tried to take." We walked past empty streets, snow crunching under our feet. No carolers, no sparkling lights, just quiet, calm. "I feel lighter," I said. "Like all the years of silence, all the fear, are finally behind me." She looked up at me, eyes soft. "You've earned it. Slowly, painfully, but you've earned it." I chuckled softly. "I guess that's what losing control taught me. That no one can own your choices, your future, or your love. Only you can." She smiled wider now. "Then let's promise to keep it that way. Together but free. Always free." "I promise," I said, voice steady. "No chains. No shadows. Just us." We stopped near the park, snowflakes drifting softly. I breathed deeply, savoring the air, the quiet, the freedom. Mom's voice came from my phone later, a message. "Merry Christmas." "I'm proud of you." I replied simply. "Merry Christmas, Mom." "Me too." Evan called again, this time laughing easily. "Merry Christmas, brother." "Really this time?" I smiled, feeling warmth spread across my chest. Lena squeezed my hand again, and I didn't pull away. I looked up at the gray sky, the soft light filtering through. This Christmas I had no grandeur, no wealth displayed, no one dictating my life. I had choice. I had honesty. I had love, real, unclaimed, and mutual, and I realized something profound. Freedom was the greatest gift I'd ever received. Not money. Not power. Not approval. Freedom. I whispered into the wind, almost to myself. This Christmas no one owns me. No one owns my life, my love, or my soul. Lena laughed softly. "Then let's go free into the new year." I nodded, squeezing her hand gently. And for the first time I walked forward without fear, without regret, and completely myself.